Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Oscar Buzz for episode 3 of the show. We're back talking about more Academy Awards news, and it's gonna be a big show because, guys, Venice and Telluride have opened. We talked about it on last week's show. How there's lots of big stuff. There's lots of big stuff coming out. In a lot of the festivals, both these two plus like TIFF, they seem very like front loaded as far as their schedule. Like a lot of the Oscar contenders are at the start of the festival because I mean for Venice, like really the only two big films left are The Last Duel and Halloween Kills. Neither of which are well, okay. Halloween Kills isn't getting anything. The Last Duel has a shot for like Jodie Comer for like big awards, and they'll probably get like production design and stuff. But as far as like best picture contenders, all of them have really shown, and we have critic scores for most of them. So we'll be breaking those down later in the show. But we had some other news. We had some trailers. We had announcements of possible contenders for next year. Plenty of stuff to talk about. So let's jump straight into the show. All right, one last quick thing before we get started. If you want to hear my thoughts on all the movies I watch, because I watch a lot of movies, you can follow me on Letterboxd at Trevor Matson, and you can also find me talking more movie news over on The Basement. But let's jump into the news, kicking off with some news about The Eyes of Tammy Faye. And this is a movie that I've been very excited for since its announcement. Comes out within days of my birthday, so really excited to see it. And we got a featurette and a poster. So the featurette just really detailed how deep into this role Jessica Chastain was. The poster's just, I mean, it's a poster. You can't really get anything from that. But this featurette, this movie is getting a makeup and hair nomination. It's happening. Do I think it wins? I don't know. But it's probably the biggest contender we have right now. It's I haven't really looked at the makeup and hair race too deeply yet, but off of what I've been able to gather, I think that this film is my front runner. But we'll have to see how the rest of the year goes. Um, and honestly, I think that just actress and makeup and hair are this movie's only two plays. Like it could get costumes, maybe it gets costumes. But I really think that's a stretch because it's a really strong year for costumes. So as of now, I just think this is getting actress and makeup and hair. But I think that's okay. This movie doesn't need to get a ton of nominations. I think it's going to be more of a crowd pleaser film with a powerhouse performance from Jessica Chastain, which I'm very much looking forward to. We got a trailer for Mass. This film blew people away at Sundance. If Coda didn't come out, this probably is your jury winner at Sundance Film Festival earlier this year. This trailer looks incredible. I mean, the four lead performances. I mean, I know Reed Birney's in there, Martha Plimpton's in there, Ann Dowd is in there, and I feel bad because I can't remember the last guy's name. But those four are all in Oscar contention, and it looks right now that they're being all campaigned in supporting performances, which makes sense. Like when you have an ensemble like this, you're probably going to get all of them in supporting because it seems like they're going to be sharing screen time with each other. And you don't want to put them on lead because that's going to be a lot harder to get into. And it would be weird putting one of them in lead. Like that would be clear and obvious category fraud. Like Judas and the Black Messiah could pull off the two in supporting. You couldn't pull off one of them in lead and then three in supporting. Like that just wouldn't work. To be fair, I haven't seen the movie, but just going off of the trailer and what people have said, it wouldn't work. So we're looking at 4 supporting contenders, 2 in supporting actor, 2 in supporting actress. Right now, I think that Ann Dowd and Martha Plimpton are both looking really strong. I haven't heard as much buzz on the on the actor side. Reed Birney, I've heard more of, and the last guy, I can't remember his name. So I'm that name hasn't jumped out at me so far. Jason Isaacs. How could I forget Jason Isaacs? Yeah, he hasn't been as high up on the lists, early predictions from what I've gathered and betting odds and everything. But Ann Dowd and Martha Plimpton seem like pretty safe bets. So this movie could get double nominated in the screenplay categories. And I think it also looks really, really strong for screenplay. I just don't know if it has picture chances just because the technical side doesn't seem like it's doing anything crazy. But again, we'll have to see. Francis Ford Coppola talked about his next film, Megalopolis, I think is the title. It's going to be self-financed, and here are the people that he's looking at to potentially be in this movie. So James Caan has been confirmed, and then he gave this list of people that he wanted to be in the movie: Oscar Isaac, Forrest Whitaker, Kate Blanchett, Jon Voight, Zendaya, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Jessica Lange. I mean, do we go ahead and give this the SAG ensemble for the whenever this comes out, 2022, 2023? Like I said, the only confirmed person is James Caan, but like I don't know who wouldn't want to be in a Francis Ford Coppola movie. Like it's you're getting Oscar hype just by the name Francis Ford Coppola. I mean, he's Francis Ford Coppola, like the Godfather, Apocalypse Now. Like he's Francis Ford Coppola. Um, so especially with a self-financed film, I mean, this is a passion project for him. The Oscars love passion projects. Like this obviously isn't coming out this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see this movie until 2023. But this is an early contender, especially if he's able to just get half of those names that he mentioned. This is an early contender for the next couple years. We got some updates on Power of the Dog. We'll, of course, be talking about this movie more later because it got glowing reactions coming out of Venice. But we got an 11-second clip, and it showed off Benedict Cumberbatch's accent. You might be thinking, well, who cares about an accent? Well, the Academy likes when you can pull off accents. It's weird. Like, most people with an accent coach can pull off an accent. But the Academy likes accents. They like when you transform yourself into somebody else. That's why I think Jessica Chastain's getting an Oscar nomination, like very, very clearly and obviously for Eyes of Tammy Faye, because she has a lot of makeup on and she's doing an accent. That's just it's weird, but that's how the Oscars work. This is another thing. Now Cumberbatch was already expected. Like he already looked phenomenal in this, but we didn't see him talk at all in the trailer that we got. But I mean, he's being directed by Jane Campion. Jane Campion, a masterful director. She's gonna be able to direct this cast to their best performances. I mean, I think it's safe to say that from the reactions we got, Kirsten Dunst gives her best performance. I mean, Jesse Plemons is phenomenal. I want to see him get all of the love. And Benedict Cumberbatch, it's going to be an interesting Oscar race probably between him, Will Smith, and Denzel Washington. But Cumberbatch is looking really strong right now. In other Power of the Dog news, the cinematographer is going to get a special award at TIFF. Now, since I saw the trailer, I've been championing this cinematography. It looks gorgeous. Now, what's interesting, so like this feels like a very, very like naturalistic, nature-focused cinematography, which we saw a film like that get nominated last year in Nomadland, and it lost to Mank. Which the cinematography is very good. It's in black and white. They like black and white cinematography. They also like things that like have to do with LA. So a trailer that we got, Belfast, which I'll be jumping more into later, it's in black and white. They like the black and white for cinematography. That I think that Power of the Dog gets nominated. I don't know how its chances of winning looks, even though to me, just going off of trailers and the films that have been released, it looks like the best cinematography. Going into some more Benedict Cumberbatch stuff because he's in a lot this year. I mean, he had The Courier earlier this year, which I still need to watch, but I've heard that he's great in it. He's going to be in the new Spider-Man No Way Home. Plus, he's got Electrical Life of Louis Wayne and The Power of the Dog. So let's talk about Electrical Life of Louis Wayne. This wasn't a trailer. It was just a 2-minute clip of an interaction between him and Claire Foy. It was released by Amazon Prime, who will be distributing the film. I don't know if we have a date on it yet, but it's going to be eligible for these Oscars, so it is coming out by the end of the year. and it looked good. Cumberbatch's character in this kind of reminded me of just mannerisms and the his speech pattern and stuff, kind of what he did in the Imitation Game, which I love the Imitation Game. So more of that. I think that if the Power of the Dog wasn't coming out, he maybe would get more hype for this movie, but he isn't gonna like. I think that there's even a rule you can't be nominated in the same category in the same year. Um, and honestly, but and that Cumberbatch looks like he would be Electrical Life of Lewis Wayne's only play, and he's totally going for Power of the Dog, which just kind of kills this movie's Oscar chances, which is unfortunate because it looks really fun and interesting. I really like the screenplay. Cinematography was a bit off-putting, but that didn't really detract from Cumberbatch's performance. He looked really, really good. So I'm still excited to check this movie out, but I kind of think its Oscars chances are dead at this point, especially because like the reactions out of festivals weren't like blowing people away. People are like, yeah, it was good. With Power of the Dog, that isn't going to get you Oscars. That isn't going to get you Oscars. Um, so let's talk about this Belfast trailer. This looks like a very personal movie from Kenneth Branagh. Seems very, very from the heart. And talked about the cinematography. This is in black and white, and it does look pretty good. It does look pretty good. I still prefer Power of the Dog better, just from the limited amount we've seen of both films, but it looks really, really good. It gave me Jojo Rabbit vibes, just in the blend of comedy and drama, and focusing, it seems, on a younger actor with a really fun and quippy screenplay. Um, I quite honestly like this movie has jumped up in my predictions. If you recall my Oscars Best Picture prediction video from about a week ago, I was middling on this movie. I said that I'd have to see how their reactions panned out, and they have been panning out really, really well. People love this movie. I've heard people say that it is the first movie from Telluride that feels like it could be a Best Picture winner. I believe that Variety ran with that headline. Um, People are loving this movie, which makes me happy because Kenneth Branagh is a great director. Also, the runtime of this movie is an hour and a half. It's short, it's quick. The Academy will just be able to breeze through it. They'll like that. I think that this movie, it probably gets screenplay. Kenneth Branagh is a dark horse for director, and I think this movie has a shot at Best Picture because, guys, you know what its Rotten Tomato score is? 100. Has a 100% Rotten Tomatoes. Now, you can't really look at Rotten Tomatoes too much because Rotten Tomato scores can be weird sometimes. It's better to look at Metacritic. That usually gives you a better idea of what people are thinking of the movie, and it does not have a Metacritic score yet, so we can't dive into the numbers on that one. But people really, really like this movie. People are loving the trailer. This movie's Oscar hype has shot up. Looking really, really strong right now. Really, really strong. Something else that's kind of interesting is so King Rick King, words. King Richard premiered at Venice, I believe. It was either Venice or Telluride. I'm following the both of them simultaneously, so it's hard to keep straight which movie's at which festival. But King Richard premiered, and people who have seen the movie have said that Beyonce has an original song called "Be Alive" in the movie. Now, to my knowledge, at the time of recording this, the song has not been released. But this is an interesting development in the Best Original Song race because we kind of just thought that Billie Eilish was going to run away with it with No Time to Die. I mean, it's a Bond song. It's Billie Eilish. Everybody loves Billie Eilish. Most people like Bond songs. It seemed like a shoo-in. However, Beyonce has a contender. People are saying that the song is really, really good. It fits in well with the movie, which is important. Like a song can be good, but like they also kind of like it to like work with the movie. That's what we're saying that we're getting here. Because King Richard's reactions have actually been much higher than people were expecting. People were expecting, yeah, it's just gonna be a fine like crowd pleasing type of movie. people have been really, really liking it. This is another film that currently does not have any Metacritic score. With all the festival films so far, it's usually been taking a couple of days to get in that Metacritic score. But this is another movie with a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. That just means that everybody that's seen it has liked it. Their scores could all be like 6s and 7s. We don't know, but people are liking this movie, and I think that's all this really needed. This movie just needed not to be bad for Will Smith, to keep his Oscar hype train alive, and I think this movie has successfully done that. Also, I'm gonna butcher this name. Ingenue Ellis, I think is her name, who plays the mom in the movie. Has been getting a lot of hype as well. Yes, on Ingenue. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, but Ingenue Ellis. People have been really, really liking her in the movie, and she's kind of been a surprise. Because with the trailer, nobody was really talking about her. She isn't a massive name, but apparently she's really good in the movie. So, excited for all of this, but it's gonna be an interesting year for original song because I know a lot of people didn't like Annette. I loved Annette. I think that one thing that people can agree on is that May We Start is a great song. I think that has an outside shot at the original song. So it's going to be interesting as we see more contenders emerge. Something else that happened at the festivals that has broken out for Oscar hype is Peter Dinklage for Serrano. I didn't think that people should really be as surprised as they are that like he's great in this movie. So he was in the stage play version of this, and he like got a ridiculous amount of praise. Like he was fantastic in the stage play version of this. I think I think he was nominated for a Tony, and they like stage play adaptations. Like look at Fences, look at The Father. Those get acting nominations, even if the movie's just fine. I mean, like Joe Wright, don't get me wrong, is a fantastic director, but like I don't see one of his movies getting Best Picture anytime soon. Like Darkest Hour was great. I love Atonement. I love Pride and Prejudice. Um, I don't see one of his movies winning Best Picture, but he always gets great performances and has a great technical side to his movie. I think that Peter Dinklage gets nominated. We're seeing a trend of stage play adaptations not only getting nominated but occasionally winning the acting nominations. And I think we're going to see that again here. I really do, and I think this would be Peter Dinklage's first Oscar nomination, which would be pretty cool. Pretty cool. We got some updates on the Best International Feature race. So last week, we had a submission from Ecuador, I believe is the country, and this week Poland has submitted their contender called Leave No Traces. It's a 2-hour, 40-minute drama. It was selected for Venice International Film Festival. It's premiering there right now. It's competing for the Golden Lion as well as the Volpe Cup there. Solid choice. I mean, this really feels like the only thing that Poland could have gone with looking at their films this year. So it's the obvious choice. Haven't seen any critic reactions for this, but I'm sure we'll be getting some now. That this is an Oscar submission. So, ooh, okay. So I just saw it. This has not premiered yet, so it'll be premiering September 8th. So we'll be getting critic reactions then. But could be interesting. Could be interesting. I'm not familiar with anybody behind it, so I'm excited to be surprised. Speaking of Best International Feature Race, I'm actually going to be having a video coming up talking about what I think France will submit, because that looks very messy this year. Very, very messy. So you can look forward to that video soon. So there were more advanced screenings of Don't Look Up, not at any festivals or anything. Adam McKay's new film, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep, all starring. I think Ariana Grande's in it for, I don't know why, but she's in it. It's going to be on Netflix towards the end of the year with a limited theatrical run before it. And people are loving it. People are loving it. I've seen some people predict this for winning Best Picture. We don't know a lot about it. We know it has to do with climate change. It's politically relevant. It's a dramedy. Those are important things for Oscars. The Oscars love movies that feel relevant to the moment, that feel important to what is going on. This seems like that movie. Because, like, if you look at some of the favorites, Nightmare Alley, House of Gucci, The Power of the Dog, they're all, like, set in the past and have nothing really to do with current events. This movie has something to do with current events, which means that the Oscars are going to like it because it's going to make them feel smart. That's what the Academy likes. They like movies that make them feel smart. This is a movie that's going to make them feel smart. It's going to be really quick. There's going to be great editing. It's going to have a great screenplay. I think that Adam McKay might win an Oscar here for screenplay. Haven't even heard a line of dialogue from the movie, but I just have a gut feeling. I'm excited to see critic reactions of this because this won't be going to any festivals, so they'll be watching it along with the rest of us. So it'll be interesting. Will be interesting. New York Film Festival said that they have a secret screening lined up. So the question is, what do we think it is? My pick would be West Side Story. Let me explain. New York Film Festival has a history of nominating movies that have to do with New York. If they wouldn't be announcing a secret screening unless it was something big, like unless it was something massive that like they aren't just gonna put up a random movie and say, oh, we have a mystery screening. No, it's gonna be something big. It is going to be an Oscar contender. I've heard some people throw around Tick Tick Boom since that was rumored to be turned away. Maybe they were just doing a secret screening or something. I don't see that happening. Why I say West Side Story is that, one, like I said, it said New York, but we know that it's finished. Because people brought up like Nightmare Alley and Soggy Bottom, which aren't going to any festivals as well. But we don't know if they're finished. We don't even have trailers for those movies yet. We don't even know if Soggy Bottom is the real title of that movie. But we don't know a lot about those movies. We do know that West Side Story is finished. We have gotten trailers. I think it makes a lot of sense for this to be the movie. It hasn't been announced for any festivals. And I also really want it to be West Side Story because the original West Side Story from 1961, one of my favorite movies of all time. I love that movie. I have the Blu-ray sitting next to me right now. I really, really love that movie. So it's the 50th anniversary. It's New York Film Festival. I think it makes a lot of sense for this to be it. And I really want to see the reactions to it. Because I quite honestly, I love the original. I think that this could improve upon it. I trust Spielberg. I trust the cast. I think that this movie could quite honestly improve upon the original, which is saying a lot. In the original West Side Story, I mean, it won Best Picture. It got nominated for basically everything. And I think this movie will also get nominated for basically anything. I don't know if it will have a comparable amount of wins. I don't think that this movie is going to get anywhere close to a Best Picture win, but it's definitely getting nominated. And I want to see what people think. I mean, it's going to get nominated as long as it isn't just like bad, but assuming that it's good, at least at least equal to the original West Side Story. It's getting a lot of nominations. So there was some hate coming out of Telluride Film Festival. Uh, some people really didn't like The French Dispatch, which makes me nervous because that is my most anticipated movie of the year. I love Wes Anderson's films. And people haven't been fans. They're saying that it's very style over substance, which makes sense for Wes Anderson. People are saying he goes a little too self-indulgent in this. I don't know how I'll feel about it. Because I love Wes Anderson's style so much that I don't know what the tipping point is for me with his style taking over too much substance. I don't know. I'm still staying excited about this movie. I still really want to like this movie. Wes Anderson is I don't have a favorite director, but he's definitely up there. So this worries me, but I'm still excited about it. So we'll see. Got about a month until the movie comes out, a little over a month. And some people walked out of Red Rocket. This was a big favorite out of Sundance. It's sitting at a 78 at Metacritic and 96 in Rotten Tomatoes. People are really liking it. Um, it has a unique story, but there were some people walking out, which is interesting. I don't think that this movie was going to get any Oscar nominations. I mean, it's an A24 film. Unless it's like groundbreaking, they don't typically get anything. And even then, like, you know, Midsommar, nothing. Um, so probably wasn't getting any nominations anyways. And if people were walking out, even just the bad press around it, I think this basically kills its chances. Going back to a positive side though, Anya Taylor-Joy received a standing ovation at Venice for last night in Soho. The overall reaction on the movie has been middling, leaning positive, but middling. Anya Taylor-Joy though, the standing ovation. You may be asking, is she going to get Best Actress? No, she's not going to get Best Actress. It isn't happening. Best Actress is stacked this year. Anya Taylor-Joy is not going to sneak in at the last minute and get into Best Actress. I with the critical reactions coming out of Venice for the movie overall, I don't think its Best Picture chances exist anymore. I don't think Edgar Wright's Best Director chances exist anymore. Maybe it has screenplay chances, um, but it's not getting any acting nominations. It's just not. I'm sorry. I love Edgar Wright movies. They're not gonna get acting nominations. But hopefully this can counter some of the negative reviews that the film has been getting. That there were some positive things to come out of the movie at Venice. Last thing before we get into the critical reactions, is there's a report that changes are coming to the Oscars, which would involve the short film categories and most of the tech categories to be presented before the ceremony or during commercial breaks. Why? I I don't understand why the Oscars are still trying to chase after ratings. Like people that are watching the Oscars want to see that. I would say for the most part, like they're at least interested. Like yes, the Oscars ratings have been dipping because studios aren't making good blockbusters. Like like in the past, like we've seen films like Dances with Wolves, Rain Man. I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Star Wars. Those were great films, and they were Academy friendly. Like they were doing something new for the genre of film, right? Blockbusters, no, like I love Marvel movies, but they aren't doing anything new for film. They aren't doing anything that the Academy is going to look for. I talked about this in my best popular film video. Like if studios want nominations, then they should just make better movies. Like the Academy shouldn't like be have to have to not honor these people and give them their moment just because people aren't interested in something like editing. Like it's an important part of film, and it's very like editing and cinematography. I know there was a thing a while ago like how those were going to be during commercial breaks. Those are two of the most important things to a film. Movies typically don't get a Best Picture nomination unless they get editing or cinematography. They're very, very important. So just because people want to like skip those or whatever, like they're still very, very important. It would be nothing is confirmed for this, but it would be very, very frustrating if they didn't present these on the show and just showed picture, director, actor, actress. The Academy shouldn't change their show just to appease people who aren't interested. Like their ratings aren't ever going to get as high as they were. So just make don't anger both sides, because you still aren't going to like nominate Marvel and Star Wars movies for Best Picture. Like, that still isn't going to happen. So now you have the people who want that to happen, they're still upset because like the words like visual effects and sound, that's where blockbusters are actually going to get nominations. So now you're removing those, so then those people don't get to see the movies that they enjoy honored at the Oscars, and then you're making the people who enjoy the Oscars and like diving into the technicalities of film not get to see those awards presented. It feels like a lose lose for the Academy. Um, so as you can tell, I am not a proponent of this change. I really hope that this isn't true, and if it is, that they see the backlash and don't do it. Because this would be very very frustrating. But let's dive into the festival reactions. Our first one, Parallel Mothers, Pedro Almodovar's new film starring Penelope Cruz, comes in with an 85. Yeah, guys, this is getting an international feature from Spain. Penelope Cruz is getting Best Actress. I think this is going to be a repeat of Pain and Glory. I've said it all along. This is going to be a repeat of Pain and Glory, Pedro Almodovar's last film. It's going to get a leading acting nomination in Best International Feature and probably lose both, but it's going to get the nominations. And actually, this might have a shot at winning Best International Feature, because so this got an 85. The Hand of God got a 76. People were typing this up. I had it very high on my Best Picture predictions, but it got a 76. Like, sure, that's still a good score, but it didn't blow people away like we thought it would. It still is worth noting that there was a bunch of security checks, and like half of the critics who were supposed to see the movie like missed the first 20 minutes. Maybe that contributed to a more negative score. Um, but there isn't anything confirmed about that. We don't know for sure that that is the case. Um, so yeah, really weird that the Hand of God only with a 76, because like this is something like people thought Pablo Larraín was gonna get like best director. It was gonna get best screenplay, international feature, maybe best picture. Like people were really hyping this up. The fact that they got a 76 is very curious. The Power of the Dog got 90. This was expected. It's The Power of the Dog. It's Jane Campion. We thought that this was going to be a Best Picture winning contender, and this just confirms it. This movie is getting nominated for Best Picture. At this point, it's just happening. This movie is getting nominated for Best Picture, and it is one of the main contenders. Another film was The Card Counter. New film from Paul Schrader. Is that his name? No, his last name is Schrader. I think it's Paul. I'm gonna call him Paul, even if that's incorrect. Paul Schrader. Stars Oscar Isaac. I think Tiffany Haddish is in this too. The trailer didn't look that great. And the fact that the movie is coming out to the public in like less than a week on September 10th felt weird. This felt more like a commercial play, but people liked it. It got an 83. It's a pretty solid score. Seemed like it surprised people and was better than people were expecting it to be. I still don't think this gets any Oscar love, but definitely interesting to see this get as high a score as an 83. You know what got a really high score though? You know what got a really high score? Spencer, the new film featuring Princess Diana. It's a biopic. It's Kristen Stewart. Got a 95. Got a 95, guys. I mean, Pablo Larraín looks like he just crushed it again. I mean, people loved Jackie, and I think that it was very under-nominated. And Jackie got an 81. This film scored 14 points higher. This movie is, I think, like one of the highest rated, if not the highest rated of the year on Metacritic. Like, this movie just blew people away. They say that Kristen Stewart is phenomenal. That the production design, costume design, cinematography, editing, the score, all of the tech stuff. This movie is getting all of the tech nominations. Like when I say all of them, I mean all of them. It's gonna get actors, probably gonna get screenplay director. This movie's probably gonna surprise people and get into Best Picture. This movie seems like a major all around contender this year, which gets me very, very excited. Because I'm so excited for this movie. We got first reactions for Dune. Uh, maybe a little low. Maybe a little low. Dune ended up with a 76. People saying that it's very visually great, maybe lacking on the story side, which goes along with the reports we got a week ago saying exactly that. Does this movie still get Best Picture? Probably, just for the sheer amount of tech nominations it's going to get. I still feel confident putting this in Best Picture, even with a 76. The thing with the Hand of God, why that's a bad 76, is because the Hand of God wasn't gonna get any tech nominations. It doesn't have massive scope, and it's as much as it pains me to say this, it's not an American film. It's a foreign produced film, which means that it's automatically going to be looked seen as lower than the other films. Just because even with the Parasite Best Picture win, that's still a bias that the Academy has. Just having international features just kind of off in their own thing, and just leaving them to compete in international feature. So Dune is still gonna. I mean, it's gonna get visual effects. It's probably gonna win. It's gonna get production design, score, costumes. Like it's gonna get loaded on tech stuff and just the hype around it. You know, there's gonna be people that absolutely love this movie. Some people might not, but I still think it gets Best Picture. What I think this does mean, though, is that I think my suspicions were right from the start that Denis Villeneuve isn't gonna get director or screenplay. I thought it was strange that people were predicting him for that, and I think that just isn't going to happen now. It's not the type of movie that I feel like is going to get that, especially with the critic reactions not being just glowing. Last two here, come on, come on. New A24 film. Seems like a self-discovery type of film. I think father-son relationship starring Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix, I think, is this movie's only play. Maybe cinematography because it's in black and white. Probably just Joaquin Phoenix, though. I think that he's right on the outside of a nomination right now. Got an 83 on Metacritic, which is decent, but this movie didn't have a ridiculous amount of hype. So I think it's gonna need to drum up a bit more than an 83 to really push Joaquin Phoenix over the edge. But we'll see. Last one here. Last Night in Soho, 74. Disappointing. Like I said, I don't know if this movie gets any above the line nominations now. Like, this movie, with all the hype it had, might just be stuck with editing and sound. Quite honestly. I think a lot of people had a lot of hope for this movie, that this was going to be Edgar Wright's Oscar nomination, potentially win for screenplay or director, and that this movie could get Best Picture. Probably just getting editing and sound. This is disappointing from the movie to get a 74. I was expecting a high 80, if I'm being completely honest. So we'll have to see how it goes. See what more reactions look like for people who did not attend Venice when it gets released theatrically, October 29th, about 2 months from now. So we will see. But those are the festival reactions. Some movies that are big Oscar contenders that either have not come out yet at festivals, at either Venice or Telluride, because of course there's going to be plenty of stuff at TIFF in New York, or just haven't received a score yet. The Last Duel, King Richard, Electrical Life of Louis Wayne, Serrano, and The Lost Daughter. We're all awaiting word on those as far as scores, but people have said that Olivia Colman probably going to get nominated for The Lost Daughter, which would be her third nomination in 4 years, which is crazy. Frances McDormand and Olivia Colman have been on fire the past couple years. But rounding up the show, we have our last part, something that we always do on the show, which is looking at the Oscar buzz of newly released films. So we had two major films this week. So Cinderella, new Camila Cabello film. If you saw my review, you know that I think that this movie is really bad. Its production design and costumes were fine, but not anything that's gonna be Oscar worthy, especially with how bad the movie was. Like, I know they're just supposed to look at like just the costumes or just the production, but they aren't gonna nominate a movie like that. Yes, I know Suicide Squad won an Oscar. Yes, I know Click got nominated for an Oscar. I think, what was it called, Norbit, the Eddie Murphy thing that got nominated. Like, they aren't gonna nominate Cinderella. It's just not gonna happen. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, though, I think that this is just the typical Marvel answer of best visual effects. I don't really see it getting anything else. Maybe it can sneak in for sound. It didn't really have a strong original score. It relied mostly on its soundtrack, so I don't think it gets in there. This is probably just a visual effects contender, which is fine. I thought that the movie was pretty good. So it's not gonna be like a Black Panther situation where it gets a bunch of noms, including Best Picture or anything like that. But I think it's a visual effects contender. And even though I think that the visual effects were overused, they were good. They were good, even if they probably shouldn't have been there. But that is the show. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. A long show. It's been about 40 minutes or so. But like I said, you can follow me on Letterboxd to Trevor Matson to see everything that I am watching. On Twitter at Matson. You don't really need to follow that, though, because I basically just plug the show. So instead, you could just subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification thingy, and you'll basically just get my Twitter. You can find me elsewhere on The Basement with my amazing co-host Mark and Opik, where we talk movies every week, for the most part, barring a break. Like this week, we took a break. We'll be back next week. So until next time, keep buzzing about the... No, not gonna do that. We're just trying out a catchphrase. We just aren't gonna... We're gonna end the show. Stay safe, everybody. Goodbye.